and welcome to the Clear Cut Classroom, where we take deep dives into all things diamonds. Today we're going to talk about the differences and how to balance the 4 C's for emerald cuts and radiant cuts. Many people come to me liking both cuts. They have a similar silhouette where they are rectangular or a little squarish with cut corners. But they have super different faceting patterns and also overall feels and vibes. So we'll talk about the differences. An emerald cut diamond is a step cut, meaning they have those long cuts, those facets, and it kind of looks like stairs leading down to the center of the stone. There's a keel line, which is kind of, instead of the point that comes down on most diamonds, there's a line instead for the emerald cuts. They're usually rectangular in silhouette with cut corners. It's a very understated, elegant vibe to the emerald cut. They're definitely not going to be the sparkliest if that's what you're looking for, but they're really, really classic and timeless, beautiful cuts. Things to look out for an emerald cut is, first and foremost, deciding what type of silhouette or length to width ratio you like. So the typical emerald cut is called the tennis court ratio, and that's anywhere between 1.3 to 1.4 in length to width. Anything below 1.3 is really considered more of a squarish emerald cut. Square emerald cuts below the 1.3 ratio are usually like a little bit less popular and more unique. A lot of people really like elongated emerald cuts, so anything above a 1.4 ratio, that's going to give you that more rectangular look and may take up more real estate on your finger. As you get square and square in an emerald cut, you may even consider an Asher cut, which is like a square emerald cut. So once you figure out the ratio, you want to kind of balance the 4 C's and get the biggest bang for your buck. Emerald cuts are really good at masking color, so you have a little bit more flexibility when it comes to color. I would say anywhere in the colorless or near colorless range, so D to J, you're usually safe and the diamond faces up really nice and white. Even in some circumstances, I've seen K color emerald cuts that face up really beautiful. However, for clarity, it's really important that we focus and prioritize. The step cut facets are very unforgiving, and you can see every little inclusion in the emerald cut. So that's something we want to prioritize. So usually VS1 and up, you should be completely safe. You shouldn't see any of the inclusions in your naked eye. However, for VS2 and even SI1, you really want to take a look at the diamond in person or have an expert view it for you, just to ensure that none of the inclusions are going to be visible. For a radiant cut, lots of people like emeralds think they like radiants as well because they have that similar rectangular silhouette. However, you can find a perfectly square radiant or a slightly more elongated radiant. Radiants aren't going to come as elongated as emerald cuts. They can, but it's a bit rarer. Typically, when you're talking about a radiant that's elongated, it's going to be anywhere from a 1.15 to like 1.3 ratio. Anything above that 1.3 ratio is going to be considered very elongated for the radiant. Radiants also have brilliant faceting patterns and modified brilliant faceting patterns. So they're super sparkly. They're going to have a much blingier, sparklier overall appearance. So it's a very different feeling than the understated elegance of the emerald cut. So that's kind of the biggest dividing factor between the two. Radiant cuts, you can also get a little bit more for your money. So similar to emerald cuts, I think radiant cuts mask color pretty well. I would say anywhere in the colorless or near colorless range, you're good. I've seen them D to I color, you're pretty much safe with a radiant, and oftentimes J colors can face up really nice and white too. One great point about the radiant cut is the clarity. They're really good at camouflaging inclusions. So you're safe to go VS2 and up. You for sure won't see any inclusions with your naked eye most of the time. And in an SI1, SI2, most often you can find SI radiant cuts that are completely clean to the naked eye, so you can get a little bit more value in maybe the carat weight or the color. So those are the main differences between emerald cuts and radiance. Thanks for tuning in this week, you guys. Comment below, let us know what you want to see next week, and class is dismissed.